Yes.
I can tell just by your sort of tiredness, overall lack of enthusiasm. Okay, there we go. You had like a little spurt of something. It was the pizza talking. So make sure if you didn't get a chance to get some pizza, we got some in the back, cheese, pepperoni. So we're so happy for you to be here. I think we started doing this accelerated program info session in MISA from like last semester. We used to do it on different days. And I think it's worked out in our benefit because some of you guys are in the routines of Tuesday nights. And for those of you that aren't in the routine, this is what we pretty much have been doing every Tuesday. We have all these different events between companies coming in, professional development events with LinkedIn and some of the other things. So we're happy to have you. We only got a couple sessions left. I'll probably talk about it a little bit at the end. So I know like next week we have NCCI coming in. And then the only other company we have left for this semester is Promise Healthcare. We also have the company tour for Rocket Matter this Friday. So if you're a premium member and you haven't signed up, make sure you do that. If you're interested in becoming a premium member and you want to go, let me know because there's still time to sign up before Friday. All right. So tonight we have the privilege to kind of talk to you about our really cool MIS Accelerator program. So I got my really good two friends, the dream team, Michelle and Gilly. So we'll introduce them on the next slide. But we're just, like I said, happy to have you. So the way the structure of this one works is kind of different from the company info session. So if you have a question while we're talking about something, you can just raise your hand and we'll jump into it. All right? Sound like a plan?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, like I said, we have the amazing dream team. So I got myself, I'm Dr. Sweet, you know me, but you may not know some of the other folks on the team. So we got Michelle Williams, all right, and we have Gilly Roan. So Michelle does the graduate advising, and Gilly does the undergraduate advising. So they both work together in coordination to make sure if you're interested in the accelerated program that you have the seamless transition not just in the classes you're taking, but also in the information and the processes that you receive. So what is the accelerated program? Well, how many of you have like heard of this thing? Okay, so it's spreading. Like I said, I've seen some familiar faces, so that's great, and then I see some new faces, which is also a really great thing. So our accelerated program is a really interesting. When we talk about accelerated, like what do you think of when you think of the word accelerated? Before you know anything about the program. Faster, right? So we have to kind of define what this faster is, right? So really the faster is accelerating you into the graduate program. So technically you're not going to really be taking the classes any faster. So we're not going to make you take like double the amount of classes in the semester and say, you know, talk about, oh yeah, I want to tell you, she just was grabbing the water. And I put the bag underneath. So,
Sorry.
Oh, you're fine. So so you're not really going to take double the classes to try to get it done faster. It's really just to accelerate you into the master's program. Right? So you see it's 150 credits. So the way we kind of have that one set up is you'll do your normal 120, and then what we'll talk about a little bit is we have this bridge course that you'll take, where it's a graduate course you'll take at the undergraduate level. So essentially you get to save at a minimum at least one class at the graduate level that you get to count at the undergraduate level. So you get that one class that you can sort of chop off that will count towards the undergraduate, so it can get you done a little bit faster. So when we think accelerated, think of we're just accelerating you through that admission process from the undergrad to the grad. So here you can do it as little as 5 years. You don't have to do it as quickly as 5 years. So some students will kind of do everything really fast, maybe in the undergraduate, and then sort of go at their pace for the graduate level. Now there'll be some restrictions we'll talk about with like the pathway scholarship and some of those things on the timeliness to graduation for the master's portion. But it's really up to you in that option. The biggest sort of selling point here, right here, no GRE or GMAT. How many of you heard of the GRE or GMAT? Right? How many of you like heard great things about it? Right? So it's a test. So what I say, it's kind of like your SAT, ACT, but we just gave it a little bit of steroids to pump it up a little bit more. So here it's waived for being in the program, which is great because you don't have to pay. It's usually like $500 for the GMAT and about like $450 for the GRE. So you save by not having to go that route. And then you also have an opportunity for what's called a pathway scholarship. So it's only available to the accelerated students, and it's through the graduate college, so there's an application process that you follow and you apply. And it's a little bit more competitive now than how it used to be in the past, but you still could be eligible for up to $2,000. So it's usually $1,000 when you begin the program, and then if you complete the program within 2 years or less, then you get the extra $1,000. So what could you not do with $2,000? Right?
So when you say competitive, are you talking about GPA, the higher the GPA, or?
I assume I hadn't heard that it
Well,
was.
when they first started, there was not as specific, money assigned for that. So when it first came about, there weren't a whole lot of students. Now that this is growing, there are a lot more students. It's just been difficult. So, you want to get your information in early. You want to make sure that you follow the requirements that will be set forth. And we've talked with them a little bit. We're going to try and have them give students all of that information very quickly.
All right, so in terms of the regular program admission, like you said, no GMAT, no GRE. In terms of your undergraduate GPA, it's the thing that makes this program special is that we're looking for students that have a little bit more academic rigor. So if it's something where you're struggling in a lot of your classes, or you're trying to keep your GPA up and you're just barely making it through, we would probably recommend going more the traditional route at that point, because what we're trying to do is have some of the students that have really put in the effort and have really, the ones that are trying to get the good grades in their classes. So here you have to have a minimum of 3.0 for your undergraduate GPA, and then when we look at your specific MIS classes that we'll talk about, you have to have a 3.0 in those specific MIS classes as well. And that's where meeting with your advisor, so meeting with Gilly way early on to see if you'd even be a good candidate, is really the best way to do that. So we'll talk about some of the deadlines, when to apply, those kind of things. And then your statement of purpose, so it's really trying to let us know why you want to be in the accelerated program, right? Because we do get several applicants, and sometimes we have to have that additional information to know if a student should be a good candidate or not. Maybe you're on the fence on some things, so that's kind of what we're asking for on those pieces. So how do I apply? Right, it's pretty straightforward in terms of the process. Like I said before, the first thing you want to do is meet with the wonderful Gilly. Right, so even if you're early on, so let's say you're in my ISM 2000, you kind of interested in this thing, meet with her early. The great thing about this is if you're interested in the accelerated, Gilly will be your advisor. So you don't have to float around to a bunch of other advisors. It's kind of like the secret code word that we have. So if you say it's like Operation MIS Accelerated, then somehow you just always get Gilly. So that's great, so she can go and basically tell you the specific classes, get your flight plan set up ahead of time, so that way you're not having to backtrack to get certain classes together. So then the second thing is meet with the other amazing Michelle Williams at the graduate level. So what they'll try to do is between Gilly and Michelle, they'll coordinate and make sure that there's a seamless transition, that there's just great lines of communication, so that way there's no miscommunication where you're missing something that could have been taken care of. So in the application process, it's actually changed slightly since this semester, because at the graduate level, we've introduced 2 concentrations for our master's program. So we have the information technology management concentration, and we have the business analytics concentration. So when you go on the graduate college website, they have a huge button in red that says apply now or apply here. Once you click on that and you put in all of your info to get a login and get an account set up, you'll have to choose, when you get to this section, which degree you're applying for. So it's a 2-part piece. So we want to make sure you click on here that yes, you're applying for what's called a combined program. So we say accelerated, but it's combined undergrad, grad.
We had actually a question.
Oh, question.
Yeah, quick question. If I'm doing the data analytics for the undergrad, can I switch to the other one as a grad?
Absolutely. So you don't necessarily have to do the exact same concentration. We would actually prefer that you don't do that.
Yes,
Because
perfect.
that way you have more of a holistic, experience when we're talking about IT, because the course structure and the classes are different.
We were just discussing that. That's why I was like,
we can probably answer that question for you at the meeting.
Great. So you'll choose here using the combined program, and then there's a drop down on the next section, so you have to choose here. You see it says either Bachelor of Business Administration, blah, 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 concentration in Information Technology Management, and then you can see there's one for concentration in Business Analytics. So you have to choose a concentration. You can't just say, I don't want to do any of them. So unfortunately, it's one.
So you can continue in the same if need be, but the preferred is to have both.
That's what I've seen from most employers. Now, if you want to get more, in depth in what you were doing, so let's say you were doing business analytics at the undergraduate level, and you want to go even further, you'll just be taking more classes, but what ends up happening is, even though the courses at the graduate level would be different, there will still be essentially some overlap, because for some students, they didn't have business analytics at the undergrad level, so there has to be at least a chapter or two as an introduction that essentially will help you kind of transition into that topic.
There is some overlap in the coursework, so, if you're a semester in and you decide that, maybe you want to do a different concentration, that's usually we can work that out, but we want to decide that early.
Okay, so as you see, there's a listing of some of the undergrad courses. It does list that you have a deadline to complete by your junior year, but we really work with each student individually. The goal is to have you be able to take a graduate course before you complete your bachelor degree, and to kind of coordinate it in order for you to do so. So this is really just a listing of the IT path. You will be following info technology. As you know, there's two paths for the undergraduate program. You have your knowledge and management path and your information technology, or as we all term it, the IT path. And part of that path includes management and information systems, programming, which is a Java course, and data communication systems analysis, and then database. So those are the 5 core. ISM 3011 management info systems is part of the core that all our BPA students take, and then the other 4 are part of the core for the IT path, and they're really the foundation courses for your graduate program as well. So they help you in that respect to be eligible. So let's say someone came out of this field, out of MIS, and wanted to do the graduate program, they'd have to have those 4 foundation courses. So that kind of puts you right into the graduate path. And in terms of how to apply,
So once you have met with Billy and she has you all straight and make sure that you have enough courses where we can determine if this is the right program for you, then she usually gives me a call when you're still in the office and says, hey, Michelle, I have a great candidate for the accelerated program. One of the things that I need in order for you to meet with me is your graduation audit. It's specific as to when you can actually apply for the program. In order to be considered combined, you have to take a graduate course in your final semester. So we want to make sure that you have enough room for that it works for you. We want to set you up to be successful. So that's why it's so important that you work with Illy, because she'll set you up so that you get the most benefit of the program. Once Illy gives me the okay, then generally what we do is we have you complete an online application with the graduate college, which Dr. Sweet showed you. You can upload your statement of purpose right on that website. You don't need to submit any transcripts or anything like that. We have access to all of that information because you are all FAU students. And depending on your situation, you may need to have an interview with the ITOM committee. Our requirements are pretty strict. The 3.0 is pretty strict. We can't really deviate from that. At the graduate level, a 3.0 is the minimum that you need in order to be in good academic standing. So that's why we are so strict about that. And we want to make sure that you're in a situation where you can be successful in your final semester and be in good standing when you actually start the graduate program. Any questions on that? Pretty straightforward. All right, so timing of the application. Like Billy said, it will be different for every student. Everyone is different. Some of you guys started FAU as a freshman, others you transferred, some of you are second bachelor students. So we really do a job of doing it individualized for each student, so anyone is able to take advantage of the program as long as they meet the requirements. So ideally, your second semester, honestly, most of the time it happens that the students in their senior year, probably prior to their, the semester prior to graduation is when most of the students go ahead and apply to the program. I assist students with getting accepted. Dr. Sweet in the ITOM department also reviews candidates to make sure that they're a good fit for the program. And then we allow you to register for the graduate course that you need in order to be combined. So for most students, that will just be ISM 6405. But if you're an overachiever and you have, lots of space in your schedule, maybe you only have one undergraduate course to complete your degree, we have had students that have been able to take 2 graduate courses. And that's a big deal. The entire program is only 11 classes. So that means if you're able to do 2 in your final semester, you only have 9 more classes to complete the degree. So it goes by super quickly.
So notice that it says BBA, BS for the degree for MIS. What contributes to the degree being BBA or BS?
So your undergraduate, you have that option to either do a BBA, which is a Bachelor of Business Administration, kind of like an MBA, Master of Business Admin, or you have the option to do a Bachelor of Science. But the Bachelor of Science for us requires 2 additional math courses beyond calculus. So like a more advanced calculus, a more advanced economics course. So to me, because you're doing a combined situation where you have your BBA and you have an MS, you already have a master, you'll have a Master of Science. So you'll kind of have the best of both worlds by doing the BBA, and then you save yourself 2 additional advanced math courses. It's an option if it fits in, but you're better off getting advantage of taking a graduate course to count toward your 120 than using it towards an advanced math course. So it really, we can talk about it individually if it's something that interests you, but either way, you're kind of getting the best of both worlds, because you're going to have a Master of Science anyhow. So you'll have that science component attached to your degree.
I forgot to mention that if you ask a question, you get to grab from the swag bag.
Oh.
I just remembered that, so I don't know if there's anything else that.
Make sure you get yours in the front row. Don't let him-
Yeah, I remember, I remember.
Yep.
So how would this program work if you're already double majoring for your undergraduate?
Well, that's something that I would have to discuss with you individually. It depends how far along you are in both the majors. We've had students that have continued on to do this program with a double major. It just, it extends your time as well, because doing a double major, you're obviously now within the same college or within 2 different colleges.
Yeah,
With
marketing and MIS.
Oh, okay, so you have the 2. Yeah, we've had students do that. That's not an issue. It's just obviously when you do 2 majors, you're taking additional courses on, and you don't necessarily get the full advantage of utilizing a graduate course towards your undergraduate, but we've had many students who've done that.
So once you've gotten the okay from Gilly and you've gotten the okay from me, and you're ready to apply, you want to make sure that you submit your application for the semester after you graduate. So if you're a spring graduate, you're going to submit an application for summer, because that's when you'll technically be considered a graduate student, a full graduate student. So that's important. That's sometimes a little confusing, but I'm always here to answer questions about it. You submit the application online. There's a $30 application fee. Don't worry too much about these deadlines. Again, we kind of tailor the program just because each student is so different in the rotation of classes and your different backgrounds. So the most important thing is to come to Gilly early when you think this is an option for you, and she'll make sure that you get set up. Even if you're not sure, even if you find out kind of late, still come and see us and we'll see what we can do for you.
Yeah, we've had a few last minute people that ended up having everything they needed, or maybe some students are sometimes on the fence. They want to, but they're not sure. When you're doing your undergraduate degree, you just want to finish. So sometimes you're not always thinking ahead right away, or you don't want to. But, with this program, the secret is to think ahead, because we save you credits. at the end, so it's, you know, it's to your advantage.
So do you guys have like statistics or anything like that from the accelerated students at did they all is like 100% graduation rate or graduation rate for the accelerated
So
students?
for our MSITM students, so the students, once you get into the master's program, we're at 100% placement either on or before graduation. And we've had in recent years, because we've had so many more students now in the program, I think now we're up to like, if we get to stretch it to like within like 3 months or so after graduation. But most of the time, we're pretty much been consistently at 100%. If the student's trying, like I forget, like last semester I was going back and forth with one of the students and they were like, I'm going on a cruise and I'm doing all this other stuff, I'm not working anywhere, so I'm like, you're going against our statistics. Yeah.
So if they get involved in the program and then they're doing whatever they're doing and then they kind of get out of the rhythm and they become like, you know, as a quote, just like a bad student, and then do they get dropped out of the program? Can they be kicked?
Well, in order to stay active, you have to take one class every 2 semesters. So that's kind of the beauty of the program, is it is flexible. As long as you take one class every 2 semesters, you stay active. So if we have some students who have a really busy time in spring and they can never take classes in spring, and that's fine. It'll just take them a little bit longer to complete the degree, but you know, as long as you stay active, we're not gonna kick you out.
You have to keep the 3.0.
Yeah,
Okay.
3.0.
Okay.
But if you're getting also the pathway scholarship, you do have to graduate within the 2 years as well, so if you're a recipient of that, you wanna, you know, kinda, so if you're off 1 semester, let's say, you might wanna not quite double up, but, you know, maybe take an extra class each of the other semesters,
But if you're not, you
to
kind
make
of.
sure to keep in with that, yes.
So you mentioned that the pathway scholarships within the 2 years. Does that 2 years include the moment you start the graduate course at senior year? Or does it start afterwards when you're done?
It begins the date that you are fully admitted. So if you graduated in spring, that wouldn't count, it would be summer, would be your start date for the 2 years.
If you get the scholarship, you get the certification value, so you don't graduate, you get that thousand back.
No. You just wouldn't be eligible for
The
the
final,
Yeah.
yeah.
Good question. Alright, so we kind of talked about this a little bit. ISM 6405 is going to be the bridge course that every student takes in order to be a part of the accelerated program for students who are doing the, which app is this?
This one is for the business
For the
analytics.
business analytics, it's a substitute for ISM 4403, but as I understand, it has a new offering.
4403, it's a lot of times we offer that in the spring because we have intro to business analytics in the fall. So, but if you somehow get yourself in a pickle and you take it out of order or whatnot, you can't take 4403 without, without intro to business analytics. So what'll happen is some students will take intro in the fall and then you get to the spring and then maybe it just didn't work with your schedule. So that's why we have the option of taking 4041, and usually we never have a problem with the cap in that class as well.
I think also 4420.
Yes, and then so the social media and web analytics is another option for you too, if you don't want to take the contemporary issues with it.
And again, we can't stress this enough, that 3.0 GPA is mandatory to be in good academic standing.
So I don't know if you guys have this in the slide or not, but is the degree offered fully online as well, or is it just like you have to be present?
So at the graduate level,
Yeah, the graduate.
so at the graduate level, you have to be very selective with the classes that you take. What tends to happen is for our courses, at the master's level, we share it with computer science. So you'll take the bulk of your classes in our program, College of Business, and then you'll have 3 classes you'll take in computer science. So within our program, the classes you'll take for the core required, we alternate between when they're offered online and when they're offered face-to-face. And then certain classes, we may not have face-to-face specifically. So when you're choosing the classes, you have to be very selective on which one you're gonna take. You can't just say, I'm just gonna figure this one's gonna be available next
You have to
semester.
be
Hey,
in advisor.
you gotta meet with Michelle at that level, she'll put together your plan of study with you. Thankfully now, we have the at least we have a tentative schedule, so we can see right now up to things like spring 2020. So we have a general idea, now the schedule may change, but we're pretty consistent on the offerings.
And most students, like I said, if you're going full-time, you're gonna complete this in 3 semesters. So that's pretty easy for us to map out, figure out what you can take so that it works for your schedule.
So, since you have to take ISM 6405 as a senior, is it as difficult as a senior class, or is it a grad level senior class? Does that make sense?
Well, it's a graduate
It's a
level
graduate
course. It's not an undergraduate senior course, it's a graduate level course.
Okay.
You need to look at it as such.
Okay.
Would be in classes with students who are graduate level students. Yeah.
So usually we'll say it's the welcome to the master's program. So, you want some swag out?
I'm okay. Okay.
And the other requirement is that to ensure that you do complete the undergraduate specialization, whether it comes on concentration, what you guys, whether it be business analytics or information security.
So you have to have one after the other. And those that are doing the business analytics, concentration, you have that one class where you do have to substitute the one that's not offered every semester, which that's great, because you do have your alternates anyhow. ISM 4041 or 4420. Just because the bridge course, ISM 6405, is identical, more or less, to 4403. So you're kind of getting a business analytics type bridge course initially.
So this, what's coming up is an example. If you follow it to the T of when you should take classes as far as they're offered, and how you would complete the graduate program. So, one interesting thing about our program is that GED 6215, I know you guys, a lot of you have taken 3212 at the undergraduate level, completely different, it's structured differently. This course is integrated throughout the curriculum, so it's important that you take it early. You'll have an integration that includes an oral presentation, a research paper, and then a short paper. So what they do is they teach you everything that you need to know to be successful during that initial semester, and then they want you to go out and show that you've mastered these skills through your other coursework. So, pretty interesting, I think. And then, as you see, remember I mentioned that there is some overlap. So this is someone who's doing the information security concentration as an undergrad, and the graduate courses that they would take. So the grad courses are the same regardless of which undergraduate specialization as well as which graduate specialization you select. So there is a little bit of wiggle room as far as selecting the concentration that works best for you. So these will be the remaining courses if you're doing the IT specialization. What I have found is that a lot of times students will need to incorporate those engineering electives over the summer. There aren't a lot of ISM courses that are offered during the summer, and once you've taken those initial courses that are offered every summer, you're limited. So what lots of students do is they'll incorporate engineering courses over the summer, as well as the optional internship that can go ahead and be a substitute for a required course. And that's any of the required courses aside from that are listed here on this slide. So that's kind of cool. And then for the business analytics concentration, you have the required courses, there's one elective, and again, the 3 engineering courses.
So Michelle mentioned a little bit about at the graduate level, the opportunity that you have to do what's called our internship course. But we also have the same opportunity at the undergraduate level. It's just a little bit more challenging to let it count. So the way it works at the undergraduate level, and the way the course works in general, is you essentially get course credit for doing an actual internship. So you can't ask for a better course in terms of business experience and getting out there and testing whatever you're interested in than doing the internship for credit class, because it's not only giving you business experience, but you also are getting course credit. So at the undergraduate level, especially if you're doing the accelerated program, we don't just have free electives where it's just wide open. So what Dr. Dunev will do, who's the chair that teaches this class, is if you're able to get an internship that's related to any of the classes at the undergraduate level. So let's say you're doing business analytics, and you didn't want to maybe say take intro business analytics or advanced business analytics, but you had the opportunity to be able to do an internship where you're going to be working as a business analyst intern, right? That you would be doing a lot of the topics that were covered in the course. So if that's the case, essentially what you would do is you would register for the internship or credit course, and then you would just fill out a form that would be a course substitution, where we would just say, this course will substitute for that. That's at the undergraduate. The graduate level, much easier. But the graduate level, essentially all of the courses that are required for sort of the core of the MSITM minus ISM 6026 and GED, you can substitute the internship for credit class for any of those classes. So that's a really great one, especially for the summer when we don't have a lot of MIS offerings. A lot of students will do that. The great thing for the internship is you can do it anywhere. So I know students have done it here at FAU. They've done it, elsewhere. The good thing about MISA and our career services and our College of Business Career Advisors is there's a lot of internship opportunities. So it's just a great way for you to take the course, get credit, and then also get, some professional exposure.
And another example of what I had with this student, he worked in the marketing department of his company, and he joined this program because he wanted to make a switch in careers, and he was able to do his internship within the same company, but in that IT department, so he could kind of prove himself and show that he had the skills that are necessary for him to be successful in that new role. So here's a pathway scholarship. Again, it's $2,000. The first half you get during your first semester as a graduate student. You're required to submit a plan of study, which we discussed. I will help students with. There is paperwork that you fill out with the graduate college, and the last $1,000 is dispersed during your final semester as a graduate student if you fulfill all of the criteria listed on this slide.
So it doesn't hurt for you to apply and apply early, and then you get rewarded, and every little bit helps. And then last but not least, what we're here for, not really, but MISA has been gracious enough to allow us to be able to crash their normal sessions to do this info session. So most of you know MISA, you're a part of it. If you don't know, you're missing out on a lot of things. So MISA is our student organization for MIS students and other business students that are interested in IT. So this semester, we've been meeting in this room every Tuesday for the whole entire semester. Basically the purpose of the goal of MISA is to be able to connect you students with employers that are looking for students that are interested in IT, but also to connect you with other students here at FAU that are not just MIS, but also other students that are interested in business and technology. We try to have a mixture of events. So we have some events like this where it's an information session. Most of the time we'll bring in different companies. So most of you that have been here have seen that this semester we had Office Depot, we had folks from OIT, we had Alight Solutions. Last fall we did a company tour at Modernizing Medicine. This semester we still have NCCI, Promise Healthcare. So we have a variety of different companies. So it gives you sort of a front row seat to be able to see what's going on at these companies, and then connect with whoever the HR folks are that come. So it's a great opportunity. We have also, like we mentioned before, we have premium membership just for the MISA premium members every semester for fall and spring. So this semester we're going to rocket people you meet, continue on even after you graduate. Okay.
What does that outlook, how many students do you have? I heard there are somewhere 44 club members.
So it's growing. Happy to see all that. Time for questions. I'm sure some of you have some. I know a couple of
Comment. I'm currently in the accelerated master's program for MSITM, and I love it. I really love Miss Gilly, and I really love Miss Michelle, and I